Ring of Honor is finally getting a TV deal. I'm going to tell you guys how it's all going to go down. Plus, WWE has canceled Crown Jewel plans. And yes, we are going to discuss a very, very big plan for John Cena and the World Championship. It's all coming up right here on The Ango Show. Welcome back to The Ango Show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a big one, so let's kick things off with John Cena. We know that he's going on a retirement tour. We know that John Cena will be calling it quits, but there are some very high expectations for John Cena regarding his retirement tour that kicks off next year. And it is said by Dave Meltzer, who has reported that the idea has actually been discussed in WWE. He says we do know that the idea of tongue twister. We do know that the idea of Cena challenging one of the two champions in an effort to have him break Ric Flair's record is something strongly talked about, including for Mania. Countless WWE stars have obviously called out John Cena. We know WWE has, they've kind of teased some stuff with John Cena. We know John Cena is super mysterious on Instagram. We know that John Cena may have even teased Gunther as a potential opponent. Guys, if I were the WWE, I would in fact give it to John Cena. Give him the 17th World Championship. This guy is on his way out. If you want somebody to take the belt off of Gunther, John Cena is a perfect candidate. I would not have John Cena take the belt off of Cody Rhodes. I would not have him take it off of The Rock or Roman Reigns. I would have him take it off of Gunther. Gunther can have a very special reign, losing it to John Cena. And if you want, you can always play hot potato with it. Even though I don't typically like that idea, you could always do that if you want. John Cena could steal the win from Gunther. Maybe that's how they have Goldberg come back. You hold off until that happens. I don't know. But my point that I'm making is that John Cena winning the 17th World Championship is a good idea. This guy has done so many remarkable things since being in the WWE. And also, in addition to that, I do think it's important that WWE understands that the way they treat John Cena on his way out will be a determining factor for a lot of other talent. I think there's a lot of other people who are going to want to be involved in retiring at WWE. And if WWE makes a big deal out of it for John Cena, then you would expect them to also do the same thing for Randy Orton and some of these other guys that have been loyal to the company. So I think it's a good idea. Reward him with the championship reign. Does it hurt Gunther in the slightest? Not at all. Do I think it's a good idea for everyone involved? Yes. The only downfall to this is, who does John Cena drop the belt to? And that's where I think John Cena, whoever retires him, should take the belt off of him. And I do think for John Cena, whoever does defeat him should be an up-and-comer, which is why I wouldn't be mad at Gunther winning it back. Now we got to talk about Crown Jewel. There has been some canceled plans regarding Rhea Ripley. And the reason for this is actually very interesting because Rhea Ripley was, she was written off television. Everybody thought, okay, maybe they're just doing this on television because they're just trying to buy some time. Dave Meltzer is actually reporting that she is actually injured. There was a plan for Raquel Rodriguez and Rhea Ripley to work a singles match at Crown Jewel. However, it's not happening due to the fact that Rhea Ripley is, in fact, actually injured. Now, this is really interesting because, WWE having a singles match for the women that doesn't involve a championship is not something that typically does. It's not something that WWE typically does on a pay-per-view. And I think we have gotten to a point in WWE where they are making some changes for the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, right? This is apparently why WWE added the Fatal 4-Way Championship, Women's Tag Team Championship match. But I do think it is interesting that WWE was going to have this match at Crown Jewel. I think WWE should have saved this for actually a bigger pay-per-view and build some more momentum. Now that Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan actually attacked Rhea Ripley and wrote her off television, there is a legitimate injury happening here. It tells me that WWE is essentially going to come back to the storyline and they're going to use this angle as a way to build some more momentum for the storyline, which is exactly what it needs. I've actually been pretty much on record by saying that this storyline is kind of not hitting for me. I feel like the whole Judgment Day thing in general right now is starting to die down. Really, the only piece of the puzzle that needs to be solved is where Dom stands after. And I think that's what they got to do. I think they got to get to the point where Dom breaks away from everybody. Dom, in my opinion, is a future world champion. Dom, in my opinion, has a lot of potential success as a singles wrestler in WWE, but he's got to get away from the storyline. The storyline now with Rhea Ripley being injured, I'm curious to see how WWE moves forward, because eventually, just like when Rhea was injured last time, she came back into the fold, right? How do they do that this time? Is it going to be the same exact thing? I don't know. But with Rhea being injured again, it is something to obviously pay attention to. I'm very shocked that they were going to do the singles match at Crown Jewel. I thought for sure they would allow it to get a little bit more beefed up, a couple more layers to the storyline. I felt like maybe it was being rushed, but that's just my personal opinion. I think Rhea Ripley is great. I think Rhea Ripley eventually needs to get her belt back. She's going to have to go through Raquel to get to Liv, which is obviously how WWE is going to tell the story. We're going to have to wait a little bit of time until that happens. But it is interesting to see that WWE originally had it planned for Crown Jewel. I feel like Crown Jewel's build has actually been kind of rushed in a sense. And, you know, when we look forward to War Games, it's actually very difficult to get excited about War Games because when it comes to the women's storyline, I can't really tell which direction they will go. And that brings us to our final topic of today's video, guys. ROH is getting a new TV deal. It's actually happening. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, negotiations are close for an ROH TV deal. A lot of people are wondering who will be taking the rights to ROH. There's a lot of rumored names. There are a lot of rumors suggesting that ROH could be going to Tubi. Nobody knows for sure if that's confirmed. However, it all makes sense in the world. This is why they had Chris Jericho win the world championship from Mark Briscoe. Anytime, and history will suggest that everything I'm saying is true. If you look at TNA getting the big TV deals, especially in the UK, 10, 15 years ago, look at who was on their roster. Look at who was traveling with them for those media rights and negotiations. TNA stacked their roster. Their champions were all big names. AEW, Tony Khan, we can talk about booking all day. We can talk about how we don't like Chris Jericho being an ROH world champion. But the reality is there is a lot of reason as to why Chris Jericho should be a world champion in ROH if you are in fact getting a TV deal for ROH. Now, I will say this. I am happy that ROH is getting a TV deal. Whether it's on Tubi, whether it's on Fox, whether it's on Amazon, whether it's streaming, not streaming, regardless of what channel it's on, I am super excited about ROH getting a TV deal because it is a big win for the professional wrestling industry. There are a lot of people out there who strive to get to AEW, WWE, and TNA because they have lucrative TV deals. They have TV deals where they're on television, where they could be viewed. Wrestlers want to be on TV. ROH getting on TV is a big win for the industry, so I am excited about that. With that being said, my only criticism to ROH, it needs its own identity. It needs its own identity, and I'm sorry, but having ROH talent on AEW shows, AEW talent on ROH shows, it does not help with ROH securing its own identity. If it has its own identity, it's perfect. It works out because you can mold the show however you want. And listen, I can criticize Tony Khan's booking all day, but you will never hear me complain about Tony Khan in the way that he's treated ROH, in the sense that Tony Khan literally saved ROH from going into oblivion. That is the truth. That is the reality. Okay, that is exactly what he has done. So me personally, the way I'm looking at it is it's very simple. Tony Khan saved Ring of Honor from going into obscurity, and he saved Ring of Honor from being dead. There is a place for people to work. Do I think ROH is a hot product right now? Absolutely not. Do I like the idea of Chris Jericho being world champion? Absolutely not. But is ROH getting a TV deal a really good thing for wrestling? Yes. And if ROH gets its own identity and they do a really good job of differentiating it from AEW, wow, that could even be bigger. So, ladies and gentlemen, ROH getting a TV deal. Where do you think it lands? It seems like it's close. We're going to find out very, very soon. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below.